中，一名身穿睡衣的女子呢躺在地上崩溃的大哭。
Another hot discussion caused by bride price. In the video, a woman wearing pajamas is lying on the ground, crying in despair. Her heart-wrenching cries make people feel sad and wonder what blow she has suffered. It turns out that this woman and her boyfriend had been in love for 3 years and finally reached the point of discussing marriage after numerous emotional adjustments. However, the woman's parents proposed conditions: an apartment in the city plus 480,000 yuan as bride price. For buying an apartment in the city, the man's parents followed the local custom and were willing to prepare a wedding house for the young couple, but 480,000 yuan as bride price was too much for them. The man's parents tried to persuade them, saying they could buy and renovate the house, but could the bride price be reduced? The woman's parents firmly refused, insisting that 480,000 yuan was the market price and they were not asking for an exorbitant amount. They argued that the house would be for the man's son to live in, while the bride price was their daughter's only guarantee. The two families were at an impasse over the bride price. The boyfriend, anxious, finally agreed to give 320,000 yuan, which was probably all the money the man's family could scrape together. Unexpectedly, the woman's parents firmly disagreed, stating that 480,000 yuan couldn't be reduced by even a penny. They demanded a show of attitude. This demand was too much for the man's family, and after repeated concessions proved futile, the man had no choice but to give up the relationship. After the breakup, the man's parents quickly arranged for him to go on blind dates, and soon he married another woman. Hearing this news made the woman extremely sad. She confided in her best friend, and the more they talked, the sadder she became, eventually breaking down in tears. Her best friend, not knowing how to console her, recorded the video and posted it online. According to the best friend, the woman usually dared not go against her parents' wishes at home and had no say in the matter. So when her parents demanded the bride price, she couldn't help her boyfriend at all. Moreover, the woman has a younger brother, which explains a lot. Her parents simply wanted to sell their daughter for a good price to prepare a bride price for their son. It is truly the tragedy of a girl born in such a family. In the eyes of her parents, their daughter is just a commodity to be sold at the best price. Her happiness is not considered, the only concern is the bright future of their son. They want to maximize the profit from their daughter, hoping that their son will understand their hard work and provide for them when they are old and unable to move.
该谈婚论嫁了，不会谈彩礼。
Every girl, when it comes time to discuss marriage, may directly lead to a breakup if she does not discuss the bride price properly. Here is a method to discuss the bride price in a way that shows you are sensible and avoids breaking the discussion. First, know yourself and your opponent. You need to understand the other party's family conditions, local customs, and her mother's attitude in advance, so you have a clear idea. Second, psychological preparation. You must make it clear that you and your partner are allies, not opponents. All discussions should prioritize your future small family. If you are sure the other party loves you, your order of importance should be your partner first and parents second. Third, discuss the range of the bride price with your parents in advance and ask for it according to the man's family's situation. Fourth, when talking about the bride price with your partner, do not appear too casual, for example, saying, "Your family can decide the amount, my parents are okay with anything, anyway it will be ours in the future." Some men might really give nothing or very little, which can easily lead to disputes when conflicts arise later. But do not be too tough either, for example, saying, "My parents said, no less than 200,000 yuan, they will not let me get married otherwise." You only want an attitude, but this tone will make the other party's family uncomfortable, possibly leading to a bad result or even a breakup.
要彩礼就是卖女儿。
To demand a bride price is to sell a daughter. Without 180,000 yuan, today's marriage cannot happen. Have any of you fallen into the dilemma of bride prices? In recent years, we have heard more and more love stories ending prematurely due to disputes over bride prices. Some people detest this practice, calling it an outdated and vulgar tradition that should have been abolished long ago, equating it to buying people and objectifying women. However, others have spoken up, arguing that the bride price is a way to protect and respect women's rights, asserting its legitimacy. Some friends also point out that the bride price itself is not just about making money but is a way for the bride's family to gauge the respect and sincerity of the groom's family. They want to see how serious the groom's family is by setting this financial benchmark. So, the question arises, what should be used to gauge the sincerity of the bride's family? While the bride price is not necessarily forbidden, it should be kept within reasonable limits. It should be based on the economic capacity of the groom's family, avoiding comparisons and preventing exorbitant bride prices from becoming stumbling blocks to marriage and happiness.
为什么男生都不喜欢优质剩女呢？
Why do men generally not like the so-called high-quality leftover women? Because in reality, these leftover women may not necessarily be high quality. This title might be self-assigned by them or compliments from others. This morning, I met a matchmaker who shared a real story about an older leftover woman. A mother approached this matchmaker to find a partner for her daughter. The mother introduced her daughter as a Beijing native, 33 years old, 165 centimeters tall, with a good annual income, owning a small villa and a commercial apartment, holding a master's degree. The mother showed the matchmaker a photo of her daughter, which was retouched to look very beautiful. The matchmaker told the mother that in cases like her daughter's, they are not very willing to take on the task because there would be some difficulties. Then she asked the mother, "What are your requirements for the man?" This auntie demanded that the man should be under 35 years old, earn over 250,000 yuan annually, be at least 175 centimeters tall, have at least a bachelor's degree, and own property in Beijing. The matchmaker couldn't help but ask the auntie, why would a man under 35 years old, earning over 250,000 yuan annually, choose your 33-year-old daughter? Wouldn't he prefer a younger and prettier 25-year-old girl? After a moment of silence, the auntie said, "Okay, I can relax the age requirement to 36 or 37. Seeing the anxious and helpless expression on the auntie's face, the matchmaker couldn't bear to discourage her further, only saying, "Let me try to find a match for you." In fact, without mentioning the matchmaker, let's speak frankly. Do you think relaxing the age requirement to 36 or 37 would make it easier to find a partner? I am also a woman, and I deeply understand the cruelty of the marriage market at our age. But reality is often harsher than we imagine. In the marriage market, there are many high-quality women, but high-quality men are scarce. The matchmaker also said that as soon as a high-quality man appears, he is quickly taken. Many so-called high-quality girls only consider themselves outstanding and just want to get married. Truly outstanding girls have long been married. Since university, those gentle, understanding, and naturally attractive girls have basically entered relationships or marriage. Because girls who are truly well-rounded, both inside and out, are rarely left behind. Girls who are exceptionally attractive have many suitors, men's eyes are sharp. And these internally excellent girls, when dealing with relationship issues, are emotionally stable and can overcome difficulties with their partners. Therefore, female friends, we must face reality. 95% of leftover women do not meet high-quality standards. When considering marriage, perhaps we need to lower our standards appropriately. Because as we age, the difficulty of finding a partner will increase exponentially.
Do you know why there is a surplus of older unmarried women in China? It's because they've turned the top standards for men into their minimum requirements. Just go to the crowded blind date corner in Hangzhou's parks and you'll see that about 90% of the women there, in their profiles, are in their 30s. They all insist that the men must be over 175 centimeters tall, have a good appearance, be within 5 years of their age, have at least a bachelor's degree, and in Hangzhou, they must also own a fully paid-for car and house, earn over 300,000 renminbi per year, have no bad habits, be attentive and caring towards women, and love fitness, among other requirements. I asked nearby women if these conditions were a bit too strict. One girl gave me a disdainful look and said, "If he doesn't have money, how will he support a family? How will he get around without a car? Where will we live without a house? And all the women here are looking for the same thing. If I settle for less, won't I lose out to other women?" Although everyone has these requirements, how many women have actually found someone? In Hangzhou, there really are very few men who meet all these criteria. If there were such outstanding men, they would have been snatched up long ago in the dating market, so why would they come here? Although the women here for blind dates indeed have good conditions, with houses, cars, and savings, these men also exist. So, what advantages do older unmarried women have? After all, high-quality men have a wide range of choices. Unless a woman is young, good-looking, or has outstanding advantages, why would someone choose you, older and less competitive? Isn't that the truth?
是一个大龄剩女。
I am 38 years old, a single woman. I used to use beauty filters online, but many people told me to turn off the filters, saying I should be more real. After I turned off the filters, many people told me to just marry any man. How could I possibly marry just any man? I would never wrong myself. How could I wrong myself? If I were willing to wrong myself, I would have done so long ago. Would I still be waiting until 38? Why can other girls find sunny, handsome, and wealthy guys? Why can't I find one? I also want to find a sunny, handsome prince. How could I possibly wrong myself? So, please stop advising me. It's useless. I am determined to find my prince, a tall, sunny boy over 180 centimeters, handsome and charismatic. Honestly, if I wanted to get married, I could have done so long ago. I still have many suitors now. But I will never wrong myself in this life. I refuse to believe I am worse than other girls. I will also find my match. I want to be a happy girl, so stop advising me. And please don't verbally attack me. It's my choice how I live my life, and I am not affecting you.
作为一个34岁的大龄剩女，
As a 34-year-old single woman, I find that no one is introducing me to potential partners anymore. They are complaining behind my back, saying I am too picky. It's really not that I am too picky, but the people they introduce to me are truly unsuitable. Most of the people they introduce fall into 3 categories. The first type is divorced men with children. I have never been married, so how can I possibly become a stepmother? The second type is men who are penniless and have nothing. I already have everything. How can I possibly downgrade myself and accompany a man from nothing to something? I don't have that kind of time. The third type is the so-called tall, rich, and handsome men who are perfect in every way. They are tall, good-looking, wealthy, and highly educated. But these men don't even look at me. Introducing them to me is a waste of my time and only hurts my self-esteem. So, it's not that I don't want to get married. Actually, I think about getting married every day. I am almost going crazy wanting to get married. I just can't find the right person. I am really anxious. If I find the right person, I am willing to get the marriage certificate with him tomorrow.
为什么作为大龄剩女，我坚决不会降低找对象的标准呢？
Why, as an older single woman, do I firmly refuse to lower my standards for finding a partner? Because I am just an ordinary person, so my standards for finding a partner are not high to begin with. First of all, I have a small house, so my partner must also have a house. After marriage, we can't be moving every few days, right? Secondly, I earn about 10,000 yuan a month, so my partner's salary doesn't need to be too high, just like mine. If he earns too little, and we argue every day over a bit of money, I might as well live alone. Also, I am 159 centimeters tall, so the man must be taller than 172 centimeters because I don't want 2 short people to have a child who is also short. Moreover, I only need to wear the wedding dress once, and I don't have high requirements for the wedding, it can be skipped. We can use the money saved from not having a banquet to travel, which is also nice. As for the dowry, I plan to contribute 100,000 yuan, and the man can give me 100,000 yuan as the bride price. This is not excessive, right? Finally, all the expenses of having a child should be borne by the man, because childbirth is not a one-person show. The child belongs to both of us, so it is fair for me to put in the effort and for him to cover the costs. Therefore, I will not lower my standards for finding a partner because they really cannot be any lower. Romance is for dating, but marriage is about these everyday trivialities. This is not about compromising or wronging myself because if life is not good, the one who suffers in the end is me.
When an older single woman is over 35 years old and still wants to get married, she must face some realities. What I'm going to say next might be a bit harsh, but it's really for your own good. If you are already over 35, as an older single woman, you indeed face some risks. If you want to get married, you must listen to the following suggestions. First, don't always focus on those who are unmarried and have superior conditions. In fact, you should also seriously consider those who are divorced, so your choices will be broader. For some women in their 40s, don't always pursue those who are unmarried and have good conditions. It's very difficult to find such people. You look down on those with poor conditions, and there are not many unmarried people with good conditions at this age. Even if there are those with good conditions, they can choose women in their 20s or 30s. Because such men, after achieving some success in their careers, are unlikely to marry women of the same age. To be realistic, in a few years, it may even become difficult for you to get pregnant. Secondly, older single women must adjust their mindset and not always say things out of spite. For example, isn't being single good? Do I have to get married? In fact, you really want to get married, but you feel unhappy because you haven't found a satisfactory partner. You're just being stubborn, unwilling to admit that you can't find a particularly good partner, ultimately because you're not good enough and have too high expectations of men, causing yourself to get older and older. Isn't such a simple truth clear to you? If you can really insist on being single for a lifetime and feel happy, not regretful, not sad, then there's no problem. The most terrifying thing is that you are anxious inside, want to get married but can't find a husband. We need to look far ahead. Being single when you are young is indeed very comfortable and free. You can date if you want, and break up if you don't want to date anymore. However, when you get older and your health declines, the seriousness of the problem will become apparent. At that time, when you are sick, you may not even have someone to pour you water or call an ambulance. Therefore, every age has appropriate things to do, and older single women must take action and not let their age become an obstacle.